Hey, warrior. Yes, you. The one watching this right now. Let me ask you something. How do you begin your mornings? Do you wake up and instantly grab your phone, scrolling through notifications, drowning in headlines, lost in social media before your own mind even has the chance to take a single clear breath? If that feels uncomfortably familiar, then listen carefully, because whether you realize it or not, you're handing away your power before the day has even begun. Most people fall into this trap. The moment their eyes open, they reach for their phone as if it were oxygen. Within seconds, their mind is hijacked by a flood of alerts, likes, messages, breaking news, and the constant noise of the outside world. From the very first moment of the day, they surrender control, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. They are already reacting instead of leading. Now, compare that to the rare few, the 1% who start their mornings with clarity and intention. No endless scrolling, no frantic rushing, no anxious reacting, just silence, presence, and inner command. They don't wake up into chaos. They wake up into control. They own the morning, and because of that, they own the day. Marcus Aurelius once said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." But here's the question: why do so few live like this? The answer is simple. Most people forget that the morning is not just another part of the day. It is your kingdom. It is your sacred ground to either rule or surrender. Those who carelessly give it away to noise, distraction, and emotional chaos spend their entire day chasing. But those who claim it with discipline set the tone. They lead their emotions, they lead their choices, and ultimately, they lead their life. This video is your call to become part of that 1%. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because you refuse to be worse than your own potential. The Stoics didn't drift passively through their mornings. They prepared for them. They didn't sit around waiting for motivation. They created momentum. They didn't ask, "What will this day give me?" Instead, they asked, "What can I give to this day?" And that is exactly what I'll be sharing with you. 7 Stoic Morning Secrets. Principles that very few people actually apply. But those who do gain an unshakable sense of control over their mind, their emotions, and their actions. These aren't trendy routine hacks or surface-level tips. They are timeless practices, mental, emotional, and spiritual, that transform your mornings into sacred rituals, your actions into deliberate choices, and your life into something unstoppable. So stay with me. Each secret builds on the one before it. Each will wake you up in a deeper way. By the end, you'll realize that your morning isn't just a time on the clock, it's the foundation of your freedom. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my morning. I control my life. Like this video. Share it with someone who needs it. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications, because what comes next will change how you face every single day. Let's begin. Number 1. Wake up with discipline, not motivation. Most people wait around for motivation to magically arrive before taking action in the morning. They think, if I feel like it, I'll get up early. If I'm in the mood, I'll work out, meditate, or plan my day. But here's the truth. The Stoic doesn't wait. The Stoic moves, regardless of feelings. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his meditations, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but inside those words is a powerful truth. Life isn't meant to be slept through. It is meant to be lived fully, actively, purposefully. That's why the very first secret of the 1% is this: they rise with discipline, not mood. They don't negotiate with the alarm clock. They don't argue with themselves. They simply act. And that's where true strength begins. Here's the truth. The very first decision you make each morning is more than just about waking up. It's a silent vote cast for the person you are becoming. When you hit snooze, you're voting for the weaker version of yourself, the one who avoids discomfort and clings to ease. But when you rise on time, you vote for strength. You're not just waking up, you're shaping your identity. That's the essence of Stoicism. Identity-based living. It's not about feeling like a disciplined person, it's about acting like one. Especially in the moments when you don't feel like it at all. Every choice builds inner gravity. Over time, your mind becomes stronger than your mood. Your body begins to follow your mind. Your energy bends to your will. And even on the mornings when you feel tired, restless, anxious, or unmotivated, you still rise, because you said you would. That single act creates trust with yourself. And once you trust yourself, your power multiplies beyond measure. So where do you begin? Start simple. Set a consistent wake-up time and protect it as if your life depends on it. No snooze button, not even once. When the alarm goes off, you stand up immediately. Send that unmistakable signal to your body. We move now. Say something powerful out loud. Let's go. Or, the day is mine. If you can conquer that soft, tempting voice in your head at 5 a.m., you can conquer it anywhere. You've already won your first battle before most people have even opened their eyes. Remember, your mornings don't need to be glamorous. They don't need fancy routines. What they need is consistency. You don't rise because you feel like it. You rise because it's who you are. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Discipline is my alarm clock. Number 2. Win the first hour in silence. Because once you're up, the next question is, who's really in control of your morning, you? Or your phone? Is it your own mind? Or is it the endless stream of notifications, messages, and someone else's drama? Most people roll over, unlock their screen, and let the world rush in before their feet even touch the floor. Instantly, their mind is hijacked, scrolling, comparing, reacting, and just like that, they've lost the day before it has even started. But those who live differently, they choose the opposite path. They begin their mornings in silence. No music, no messages, no distractions, just stillness. Epictetus once said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. In other words, don't be afraid if silence feels unusual at first. Don't worry if it makes you feel like you're falling behind. That silence is where your power lives. Your mind in the morning is soft, open, impressionable. Everything you feed it in those first minutes sets the tone for your entire day. And if the first thing you consume is noise, you'll carry that chaos with you everywhere. But if you give yourself even 10 minutes of calm, you give your brain a chance to breathe, to reset, to focus. So what do the grounded ones do? They sit up, they close their eyes, they feel their breath, they notice their thoughts, but they don't chase them. Instead, they ask simple yet powerful questions. What energy do I want to carry today? What would the best version of me do this morning? This is what the Stoics called prohairesis, your inner freedom. The ability to choose your response no matter what the world throws at you. Try it tomorrow. Before you grab your phone, sit still, do nothing, Just be there with yourself. You might be surprised at how over time, you'll become less reactive, more creative, and far more steady. Even when life turns chaotic later in the day, you'll move through it like a calm storm, because your morning wasn't stolen. You owned it. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is space for answers, for control, for strength. And the truth is, clarity never comes from noise. It only comes from within. Drop this affirmation in the comments if you're truly serious about protecting your peace. Silence gives me control. Number 3. Face the day before it starts. Let's be honest, life rarely goes as planned. You can have a perfect schedule, a complete checklist, the right mindset, and then boom, in just a single moment, everything can get thrown off. Someone says something stupid, plans fall apart, traffic piles up, or just one email ruins your mood before 9 a.m. And the truth is, most people let those moments ruin their entire day. But the Stoics are different. They anticipate, not because they're negative, but because they're prepared. The ancient Romans called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds dark, but it's not pessimism. It's a way of rehearsing for life before life hits you. Seneca once wrote, "He robs present ills of their power, who has perceived their coming beforehand." In other words, when you expect difficulties, they won't knock you down when they arrive. You'll handle them as if you've already lived through them once. The most grounded people in the world don't just move blindly through their day. They preview it. They picture what could go wrong, not in an anxious spiral, but with a calm and clear mind. Maybe someone will interrupt me. Maybe I'll lose patience in traffic. Maybe someone will misunderstand me. Maybe I'll feel tired or insecure. And then they ask, when that happens, how will I respond? It's like building emotional muscle before the real workout begins. And here's a simple practice you can try right after your silent morning time. Ask yourself, what challenge might show up today? What emotion might rise up that I need to keep in check? How would the best version of me handle that moment? You can write it down, or just run through it mentally. Either way, it's powerful, because when life does what it always does, surprises, disruptions, you don't freeze. You don't break. You've already rehearsed. You're not reacting in panic. You're responding with wisdom. This is the essence of Stoicism. It's not about controlling life. It's about controlling yourself within life. And this mindset gives you a calm that feels almost unfair to everyone else. You walk into the meeting centered. You face delays without rage. You hear criticism and you don't crumble. You stay steady. You stay cool. That's your power. Not perfection. Not fake positivity. But preparation. Because you faced the day before it even began. And that gives you the edge. Drop this affirmation in the comments if you're done letting life catch you off guard. I prepare. I do not panic. Number 4. Anchor yourself with a Stoic morning reminder. Every great leader, every warrior, every philosopher has something they return to each morning. A core principle, a grounding truth, a reminder of the person they want to be. The average person wakes up and forgets who they want to become. The Stoic wakes up and remembers. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations daily, not to impress others, but to keep himself grounded. His writings were personal reminders of how to live with strength and calm. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the morning anchor, a truth you repeat to yourself every day, before the world tries to pull you away. And here's why it matters. Every morning, Your identity is fragile. Before emails, opinions from others, or the pressures of work rush in, you must be the one to remind yourself, who am I? If you don't, the world will decide for you. Those who live with clarity and control understand this deeply. They choose a Stoic mantra, a simple truth, and repeat it every morning. It's not just motivation, it's a foundation. It brings them back to themselves. Here are a few powerful examples. I do not control what happens. I only control how I respond. This day is a gift. I will not waste it in distraction. What matters most today is how I carry myself. I am not here to please others. I am here to live in truth. You don't need 100 affirmations. You just need one truth to live by. Say it out loud. Write it down. Make it your compass. Because if you wake up anxious, scattered, or lost, it's usually because your mind hasn't been given direction. It's wandering. But when you begin with clarity, that clarity becomes momentum. You step into each task with purpose. You face challenges with alignment. You remain calm under pressure because your mind isn't guessing, it's anchored. Try this. In the morning, right after waking up, sit still and repeat your chosen Stoic truth 5 to 10 times. Say it with power. Let it echo inside you. Don't just say it, become it. Over time, this mantra becomes your mental armor. And on the days when life shakes you, that single reminder pulls you back into strength. Because if you don't remind yourself who you are every day, the world will confuse you. Don't let that happen. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I anchor my mind in truth. Number 5. Master the mind before the world enters. Your mind is most influenceable in the very first hour after waking. So ask yourself, who gets access to your mind first? For most people, it's strangers on the internet, news they can't control, conversations that don't matter, opinions that make them feel small. But the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." That's why, instead of letting the world shape their mind, the wise choose to shape their own mind first. We just talked about mastering the mind, laying the mental foundation before the world even has a chance to intrude. Now, let's take it one step further, to use the morning for the real work, the inner work. Because if you don't take command of your own mind, sooner or later, the world will use it against you. Remember this. You were not born to be a slave to moods, to impulses, or to every little trigger that comes your way. You were born to lead your mind, like a king ruling his kingdom. With clarity, with patience, and with discipline. And what better moment to claim that crown than in the very first moments of the day? That is when you assert your authority, before the world even gets a chance to invade. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I lead my mind before the world can. Number 6. Move the body to awaken the mind. A Stoic understands deeply. The body and the mind are not separate. They are partners. If the body is sluggish, the mind will be lazy. If the body is sharp and alert, the mind will rise with it. That's why the wise never begin their day without movement. Not because they're obsessed with six-pack abs. Not because they want to show off. But because movement is the very first act of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius once asked himself, "Is this what you were made for? To curl up under the blankets and hide from life?" That wasn't judgment, it was a call to action. A reminder that the body was made to move, to face the day, to work with strength, not with laziness. And here's the truth. You don't need a 2-hour workout to become great. What you need is momentum. You need motion. You need to send a clear signal to your brain. We are not here to stay comfortable. We are here to lead. Why is morning movement so powerful? Because it changes your state instantly. Blood flows. The heart awakens. Energy rises. Your self-image sharpens. The mental fog disappears. And the weak part of you, the one that wanted to stay in bed, begins to die. The Stoics valued physical exertion as training for the will. Epictetus taught that discipline over the body is discipline over the soul. That's why your first steps, your push-ups, your stretches, even a splash of cold water on your face, they're not about fitness. They're about command. You are showing yourself, I do hard things, even when I don't feel like it. That is leadership. That is self-mastery. But most people, they don't train their will. They train comfort. They train softness. And then they wonder, why does life feel so fragile? So weak? So here's your challenge. Every morning, move your body for just 10 minutes. Stretch. Do push-ups. Jumping jacks. Walk in silence. Splash cold water on your face. Or take a cold shower. It doesn't have to be intense. It just has to be deliberate. Because your body is not a side note in this journey. It is your vehicle of discipline. And when you train it every single morning, you step into the world feeling untouchable, because you've already conquered something before breakfast. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I move with discipline. I conquer my day. We just talked about the power of moving your body to awaken the mind. But the morning journey of someone strong in spirit doesn't end there. Because there's one last secret. Training the mind by rehearsing the person you want to become. Each morning, they ask themselves, how would the best version of me act today? If my entire day were recorded, would I be proud of how I walked, how I spoke, how I handled my emotions? Where do I need to grow stronger? And how will I face that challenge? This is what we call mental rehearsal. You don't have to predict every little detail. What you're really doing is training your identity. Picture this. You walk into work or school carrying a calm, steady energy. Imagine yourself staying composed in the middle of conflict. Imagine choosing patience where you would normally snap. Imagine speaking with clarity and confidence. When you do this, you're giving your brain a template, like a rehearsal before the real performance. And when life finally tests you, you've already practiced your lines. Why does this matter so much? Because most people simply fall into the energy around them. But the Stoic does the opposite. The Stoic creates the energy. They walk into chaos and remain still. They meet aggression with strength. They meet fear with action. They don't fake it, they train it. Every morning, repeat it again and again. And over time, that identity becomes carved into stone. You become the person who shows up strong, who doesn't panic, who speaks with truth, who moves with purpose. You don't just have good mornings, you build an unshakable life. But sadly, most people treat the morning like it means nothing. The wise know it means everything. The way you wake up shapes your mindset, your emotions, your momentum, and your sense of meaning. If you don't own your morning, someone else will. If you don't command your thoughts early, chaos will take their place. If you don't discipline yourself before the sun rises, life will discipline you. And it won't be gentle. The Stoics weren't just philosophers. They were warriors of the mind. They didn't waste time. They didn't waste mornings. They lived with intentional repetition, reminding themselves every single day of what truly mattered, of who they wanted to be, and of how they must carry themselves, no matter what life threw at them. Secret 8. Define the one most important task of the day. While most people drown in endless to-do lists, the top 1% choose focus. Each morning, they ask themselves, what is the single most important thing today that, if completed, will bring me closer to my larger goal? And then they channel their best morning energy into accomplishing that first. This clear sense of priority creates a massive difference in results. Secret 9. Practice gratitude as a morning ritual. It's no coincidence that many great philosophers, leaders, and successful entrepreneurs begin their mornings with gratitude. When they list just 3 simple things they already have: health, family, an opportunity, or even simply the gift of breath, they instantly shift their mind from a state of lack to a state of abundance. And this positive energy follows them throughout the day, making them more grounded, clear-minded, and creative. Secret 10. Slow down to go faster. The top 1% understand that mornings are not just for work, but for reconnecting with themselves. Before diving into the whirlwind of pressure, they take a few minutes to breathe deeply, enjoy a cup of tea or coffee in silence, or simply watch the sunrise. This slow, mindful moment allows them to start the day with a steady mindset, free from rush and haste. Once the mind is anchored in calm, every decision that follows becomes clearer and more effective. Now you see, mornings aren't just about getting out of bed and rushing into the chaos of life. They are the foundation of your entire day, the secret weapon that separates those who drift aimlessly from those who rise with purpose. By embracing these 10 morning secrets, you don't just control your schedule, you control your emotions, your energy, and ultimately, your destiny. So ask yourself, will you continue to live on autopilot, reacting to the world, or will you rise with intention, like the 1% who shape their mornings to shape their lives? If this message resonated with you, don't just keep it to yourself, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to go deeper into the Stoic path of discipline and clarity, hit that subscribe button and join our Stoic Glow community. Together, we'll keep unlocking the wisdom that empowers you to live with strength, resilience, and peace. Remember, own your morning, and you'll own your life.